Hi everybody, this is Black Banner Ranger, doing another countdown commentary of my countdown animations I did last year. This time we'll be starting the 2020s decade, with of course 2020. Do I have to say what happened that year? And not for my life personally, I already explained that in 2015, but tell me if none of you had this. Tell me in the comment section if none of you basically had had the same thing I was going through and a lot of us were going through back in that year. Ever since that big virus spread and stuff like that, a little bit similar to the Spanish flu or the bubonic plague. We basically had to stay inside our houses and let it ease up for a bit. Even to this day, there are still some people who suffer from it. In fact, I actually had this bug back in 2022. It was not fun, it was definitely not pleasant, but I managed to live with minimal damage. Anyways, one of my honorable mentions that year? What is my most favorite animated film, cartoon that year? Why, it is The Owl House. I usually am not gigantic on magic girl type of shows, those or super dark shows like that, or super hardcore story arcing shows. But The Owl House has the big story arc, the dark tone, and the engaging, endearing characters, some good laughs here or there, some strangeness to it, and I think it's one of the best cartoon shows to represent LGBTQIA plus themes. And The Owl House, I think, is an absolute masterpiece and is able to master almost every aspect of that. It's able to master the magic genre, the magic girl genre, the dark themes, the LGBT themes, and the overall arcing story arcs, etc. And I am aware that it's a bit of a shame. I find it a bit of a shame that the show got shortened a bit, and there was a bit of a shakeup with Disney saying that it didn't quite fit the Disney brand. But nevertheless, this show set up a bit of a milestone for LGBTQIA plus history, alongside Korra and even the reboot She-Ra. But I'm sure we would have liked a bit more, and had it not been for the shortening. But I'm also going to respect Dana Terrace's wishes to not continue the franchise. I'll have other people's fanfics do all the continuing for me. And despite its cancellation, I can still do more fan arts of it. Yeah. And in fact, this may be my most favorite cartoon of the 2020s right now. If there's another show down the line that can get me super engaged more than this one, then it might get dethroned, but so be it. But as of now, Owl House tops nearly every other cartoon of the entire decade. And one of my honorable mentions that year, Close Enough, made by J.G. Quintel, the creator of Regular Show, showcases a bit of a slice of life type of show, and it's definitely more for adults, but it doesn't feel too raunchy. It doesn't feel too grown adult. It feels a little bit Simpsons or Bob's Burger-esque. I thought, knowing J.G. Quintel with his 2 p.m. in the a.m. pilot, I thought he'd go a little bit more vulgar, a little bit more raunchy. But how do I say this? It actually feels a bit tamer compared to some of the other cartoons for adults. Glitch Techs, a nice way to showcase some technology and having to battle video game characters, a little Pixels like in a sense, but hey, I find it fun to explore a bit of arcade. I was hoping there'd be some references to console video games, but maybe that's asking for a little bit too much. Unfortunately, it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, so so that one prevented me from fully enjoying it as a whole. That's one reason. Um, Aside from that, I wasn't that engaged with it, but I do find it fine as it is. Now, the other show I was more engaged with is Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous, a showcasing what happens if you're on Jurassic World, but then you accidentally get stuck on the island when everybody has left you. It's basically a bit of a survivor in a sense. You gotta survive in a world full of dinosaurs that might come out to get you. Think of it as a more serious and darker take on total drama, except it's not a game show. It's actual survival. Well, you have to find a way to get off the island before it's too late. And these kids are actually in real peril and stuff. Finally, Star Trek Lower Deck. I'm not gigantic into Star Trek. In fact, I find Star Trek a little bit too dialogue-ish for my taste. In fact, I was always more into Star Wars. But I think Star Trek Lower Deck is perhaps my most favorite thing that's Star Trek related. Now, sure, at times the characters are a bit jerkish to each other, like Beckett Marina, but I still think there's something charming about this show, and the characters do look a bit cute at times. And again, I understand this is not everybody's cup of tea, but right, as someone who hasn't been gigantic on the Star Trek franchise as a whole, this is perhaps my most favorite thing Star Trek related. Unless you can recommend something to me Star Trek related that's a lot better, like whether it's the Kirk era or the Picard era, the William Shatner era or the Patrick Stewart era or some of the other shows. I mean, I have seen the first movie. I don't know if I've seen the second or the third one, but I have seen the first Star Trek reboot movie, the one with Zoe Saldana as Uhura. But again, if any of you are Star Trek fanatics, ask me which is the best thing you've seen and which one I should recommend going to more than, say, Star Trek Lower Deck. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, what is my most favorite animated film of 2020? Wolfwalkers, made by Cartoon Saloon, the same people who made The Breadwinner. Focuses a bit of Irish law on the wolf's transformation, stuff like that. Very beautiful to look at, a very nice use of the art style. And since I've seen Breadwinner and Wolfwalkers, I really need to see the other. Cartoon Saloon movies, because they look really great. They're like the Studio Ghibli of Ireland in a sense, and it's a shame they don't make that much money. And this one was Apple exclusive, though I saw it on the plane. But I'm sure the other Cartoon Saloon movies are just as wonderful. And immediately, little Meeb or Meb over here gives me a bit of Eberwolf vibes. Anyways, my honorable mentions are Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. Now this is how you do an animated Mortal Kombat movie the right way. Before it was Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, which is meant more for kiddies, not the best move. And there's the Mortal Kombat 1995 movie and Annihilation. They weren't great, although the first one was cheesy, but had a bit of fun moments. Well, I can't say the same for Annihilation. But this, I think, is how you properly utilize the Mortal Kombat formula in an animated feature film. I have other Mortal Kombat movies with me, like Battle of the Realms and Cage Match and Snowblind. I have seen the second one, but I have yet to see the other two. I heard the last one in Cage Match was the last time we hear the voice of Gilbert Gottfried. May he rest in peace. Onward. A fantasy world, but with a bit of a modern twist. Quite reminiscent to the Flintstones and the Jetsons, but it can provide some fun and stuff, a mixture of both technology and magic. could use a bit more story, but the world building is quite good. Um, Soul, quite deep with its lore and stuff like that. And Soul, in fact, sorry, I'm just listening to. Okay. So Soul is basically about if you what happens if you die and if you come back to life. What is your purpose in life? If do you want to do this favorite thing forever, or do you want to keep on living and explore something new? Do you die too quick? If you're dead too quickly, well, that's it. You can't really come from that. But maybe you could get another. I know. You can't really come back if you're already dead. But Soul does showcase that there's more to life than just your favorite thing to do. There are many other opportunities you might miss out. In fact, sometimes with whether or not even though I do like to keep making Skylanders animations, there might be a time when I might have to move on and explore new ways of doing animations and stuff. I mean, unless you're like Tom Kenny, where he never gets tired of voicing SpongeBob, there are times when we can get a bit too tired of making the same thing over and over and over again, and we just want to move on to something else. Especially with Dana Terrace wanting to move on from the Owl House and make something new, like with the Knights of Guinevere. And it also has a very unique way of a body swap. Of course, the body swap stories where whenever they switch brains, they also kind of switch the voices as well. Well, rather than having them in their right bodies, so the other voice actors could try and mimic them. I mean, I hear the original Teen Titans were supposed to have Tara Strong voice Starfire and Hynden Welch voice Raven when they switched minds, but from what I understand, they're so great with mimicking each other's voices that they decided there's no need to just have Starfire as just have Wyndham Welch as Starfire in Raven's body, and just have Tara Strong as Raven in Starfire's body. But for this unique take, they do have the voices are mental trope, but only to the characters. The other people around those two characters that were swapped, they hear them in the right bodies. Like the cat has the Joe's voice, but to 22, but not to the other people around the cat, and and Joe has, and 22 has, and 20, Joe is in 22's, is in the cat's body, but and the cat has Joe's voice to 22, but not to the others, if you know what I mean. It's a bit of a unique spin to that. Anyways, and finally, if we're counting live action animation, the Sonic movie. It's basically I was worried that it was gonna be a bit of that, especially with the trailer had the ugly Sonic thing with the meow. I'm so glad they kind of fixed that, but then again, it might have also been a bit of a curse because nowadays a lot of people are demanding some fixes on characters when they showcase trailers. Like when Ruler Rule had his appearance in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, he was a bit more like this rather than ooh, ooh, ooh. And people have been asking Toys for Beanox to fix Ruler Rule's design by giving him an update of fixed Ruler Rule. And then there's trying to think. There's also Tiana with Ralph Breaks the Internet. Even though that came out years before the Sonic trailer, many people have been asking Disney to fix Tiana's design because they say she was whitewashed a little bit and her hairstyle's a bit weird, to help her match better with her original counterpart. And so they did. And I heard a similar cases with Total Drama 2023 with MK. They gave in the first season she was originally yellowish, but in season 2 and a later version of season 1 they changed her to be a bit more more pale, a little bit more pink. So basically, Heather went from looking like Kitty, Emma, and Devon to looking a bit more like Heather to lessen the stereotype that East Asians are yellow. Now, I'm partially East Asian myself. I am of Chinese descent, and I am living in a country where we do have various different Asians of various different backgrounds and colors, so to speak. But nevertheless, Sonic the movie is still a great movie, and is actually a pretty solid adaptation of the video games. Not great, but I can see a lot of people having fun with the Sonic games for its fast paced action, and Jim Carrey is delightful as Dr. Robotnik. But it would only get better and better as we dive into the sequels. And this one's a bit of a non choice, but my most favorite video game of 2020 is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2. It's a mass improvement over the first Nickelodeon Kart Racers game, where in that game there was only 4 different franchises and only 12 characters: SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy, the Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo, Helga and Arnold, Chucky, Angelica, Tommy, and Reptar. It was basically the roster, and it was basically a joke. Now, the sequel, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, that one actually felt like a vast improvement, and we get to see even more franchises and more characters used, including from, it's not just SpongeBob, Rugrats, Ninja Turtles, and Hey Arnold. They also had characters from The Loud House, Legend of Korra, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Cat Dog, Ren and Stimpy, Invader Zim, Danny Phantom, and oddly enough, there's also an appearance of JoJo Siwa, which I thought was a very head-scratching add-on. But nevertheless, her stage is actually pretty good. Very colorful, very nice. It's just the character herself was an odd addition, but the stage they put a lot of effort into it. It's so dazzling and appealing. And of course, it's the first time I get to play as a Loud House character on console. And it makes me wonder, why hasn't Nickelodeon made a Loud House video game on the consoles yet? There's a lot of potential for either a platforming action and adventure game, or maybe a bit of a first-person or third-person shooter, but with toilet rolls or paints similar to Splatoon, or have a bit of a brawling type of game where you get to play as characters fighting each other, or maybe a Loud House racing game that features a lot more characters from the Loud House. I mean, so far you only get to play as Lincoln, Clyde, and Lucy. And admittedly, Lucy was also, while I think she's a fine addition, I feel like the other sisters would have qualified a bit more. Laurie has a driver's license. Lenny also has a driver's license in Season 5. Luna would like to go on a world tour. Luann sometimes does her jokes with wheels. Lynn, being the sports girl, you'd think she would like to compete in that. Lola has a pageant car. Lana is a mechanic, likes to fix things with the engines and stuff. Lisa is a technologically advanced expert, so she might have made a vehicle. She would like to do some vehicle experimentation. Heck, she even one point drove a tank. And even drove Vanzilla during the time traveling episode. And there's Lily, who doesn't do a lot of wheeling, but it's quite common to have baby characters as racers, like with Mario, Baby Crash, and even Tommy and Chucky, even in the Nick Kart Racers games. Lucy, as far as I'm aware, Lucy's the only one that has the Lucy's the only one that doesn't really do anything vehicular related except being forced to drive Lola's princess car. So it was, and I was hoping that the sequels would also include other Loud Sisters as playables, but unfortunately, no. It's just Lucy. Lucy's the only sister who's playable in the console games, and Lincoln is not even playable in all the games. But we'll get to that later. And also it has Rocco's Modern Life. How did I forget that? I had Heifer with me. So there was like 12 franchises plus JoJo Siwa. Again, odd addition. Anyways, my honorable mentions are Crash Bandicoot for It's About Time. If it showcases that Toys for Bob is capable of making something completely brand new for Crash Bandicoot. Sure, it can have elements that feel like it's Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, or even Crash Bandicoot Warp-like, but nevertheless, it's still a pretty solid game, and it showcased, again, it gave Toys for Bob the potential to make even more Crash Bandicoot games. Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawk remake, Pro Skaters 1 and 2 HD. Admittedly, I never played the original Tony Hawk games, but I found myself kind of enjoying the Tony Hawk Skater games. I mostly only played it because I heard there were a couple of Skylanders Easter eggs. I found one, which is the Chompy, but I'm trying to find the other ones. I remember seeing a graffiti of Crash Bandicoot and food. Well, I did see a Dr. Neo Cortex one, but that's about it. Dreams, a game that allows you to create your own games. Get to make your own platforming games, make your own puzzle-y games, or make whatever type of games you want. I haven't made any, but I did try to make my own characters with Dreams. It was just a fun little way to create things. Now, I haven't played any other game, unfortunately. I only played 4 games from 2020. So if I'm going to pick something random, so I do have one more honorable mention, which I do own, but I haven't played yet, and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales. I have a lot of the Spider-Man Insomniac games, but I haven't played them yet. I probably should. I don't know how long the servers are going to be on, but I probably should play them at some point. I do have them. I just need to play them. So yeah, let's go on to this part right here. What's happening? So here I am with Cool Croc, and Cool Croc is the one reading. I forgot to mention the blue hands earlier and the background bit here. So Cool Croc is just reading, and I'm with the glasses. And with me are 3 characters. Let me look up who the other character is again. Okay. Robin. That's it. Robin. Right next to me are Robin, Amity Blight, and Lin Lau Jr. Now, see the reactions. Over here, Robin is looking rather confused. Since she is from a time when there was no technology or stuff like that, it's mostly medieval castle-esque in Ireland. But that's why she's a bit confused on what these... she might be confused about the... carts, like maybe they're mini mechanical horses. Amity is blushing and she's getting all super excited. This is based on her appearance in the Owl House, that episode when she was like, yes, and she was like really blushing, like when Luz asked her, if you want to go out with me, yes. And as for Lin Lau Jr., she's angry. She's angry that she has to sit there. This is, of course, referencing the fact that she wasn't playable in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, and instead she appears as crew member, a pit stop member, where she gives you a boost rather than being an actual racer. Again, if she was an actual racer, she would have been happy, and I would have had her in the racing spot. So here I am with the glasses thing. And here's Luz in a cart which is inspired by String Bean. Now, technically, she already has a cart. In fact, I remember Luz used to be used to be a racer in a game called Disney All-Star Racers, which is only available for the iPad. And it was made by the same people who made Nickelodeon Kart Racers. But her design was a bit different, and she was wearing a racing hat which is based on her hoodie. So, but I thought about redesigning her cart to look a bit like her Palisman String Bean. Is that actually String Bean as the cart, or is it just a cart inspired by String Bean? Who knows? And over here is Meeb or Meb, the wolf girl who can transform into a wolf. She's driving a wolf-inspired car. I think I might have forgot to color this bit in, but never mind. I mean, pipes in general are kind of gray. And on her hair, there's a bit of a sunflower, a bit of a Canadian maple leaf, and there's the Skylanders' life elemental symbol. And over here is SpongeBob driving the boat. Wait a minute, he doesn't have a license yet. But with Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, you don't need a license. Heck, in Kart Racers 3, you get to play as Toph, even though she is blind and she shouldn't really be driving on the boat, unless you're thinking the Flintstones, where she can use her feet to guide her to use as a navigation, or like in the SpongeBob episode Mrs. Puff You're Fired, where SpongeBob is blindfolded and is able to drive perfectly, even though, wait, you can't drive a boat with a blindfold on, that's illegal. But I can't do it without a blindfold. Drive, boy, drive! And then he goes a bit off course. But when he's like, I can't see. Hey, I can't see. And he starts driving flawlessly. And let's see who won. So it seems Luz is first, and Mabe is second, and SpongeBob is third. In first place, Luz is showcasing a letter to Black Ranger. Now, originally, I wanted this to be like an orb thing, like a spiritual orb, like the fortune teller type of orb thing, or kind of like those television orbs in the Owl House where you use it to watch TV. How do I say this? There's a short in the Owl House where they're watching a soap opera on the crystal ball thing. And when Luz didn't like it, she turned it up, but then King is like, no! What happens next? What happens next? And that concludes the soap opera. And then it turns out, wah! Buddy, let me tell you a little something about fan fiction. Go on. What I would say to anybody who's still having a bit of withdrawal symptoms with the Owl House series finale, but I digress. So anyways, I tried to do the crystal ball thing, but I kind of ran out of time and I needed to get something done quick. So instead I went with the racing thing. So first place, they're showcasing a letter, and Howdy and Happy Birthday Black Ranger by Chicken Exploder. And I was wondering, what was your first real inspiration to start drawing, and how did you get into it? I mentioned that my sister did draw something like this, and I was inspired to make my own version, and then later it expanded to Rhino and Dial and other things. And then I had other artists for inspiration, especially, this thing I have, it's a thumbnail for my video of my top 12 inspirations into drawing and stuff like that. And I mentioned, in case you're wondering, my top 12 inspiration artists were Matt Groening, Eric Goldberg, Quentin Blake, Quentin Blake, Dr. Zeus, Lauren Faust, Bruce Timm, Darren Nefsey, Tex Avery, Ed Gord. Trying to think Hanna-Barbera and William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, and trying to remember I'm trying to remember the inspirations again. Let me start over. Matt Groening, the Simpsons guy. Eric Goldberg, one of the Disney animators. Quentin Blake, the illustrator for a lot of Roald Dahl books. Dr. Seuss, who's the guy who made The Cat in the Hat. William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, the creators of Tom and Jerry and Hanna-Barbera. Joe Murray, the creator of Rocko's Modern Life and Camp Lazlo. Bruce Timm, Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Bruce Timm, the co-creator of the DC animated universe and character designer. Darren Nefsey, the creator of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Tex Avery, the guy who then one of the legendary Looney Tunes animators and super cartoony animator. Actually, I'm trying to remember what was the other inspiration. Let me look it up. I'm trying to. Sometimes I have trouble remembering. BR Games 12. Here it is. My other inspiration was. Oh yeah, Derek J. Wyatt, the character designer for Transformers Animated, Scooby-Doo Mysteries Incorporated, Ben 10 Omniverse, and the original Teen Titans. I forgot to include him, and of course, Ed Gord, the creator of Ed's World. The guy who made Flash animations, and he was my primary inspiration into why I make animations to this very day. There's a video on that. Some of it may be a bit outdated, but if you take a peek at it, you get a bit of an idea of it. There were some honorable mentions I included, which I probably shouldn't have mentioned as honorable mentions, because let's just say one of those honorable mentions is nowadays a bit more dishonorable. And it's the same guy who made Ren and Stimpy. And I also added in that little line over there. What was that all about? Chicken Exploder's favorite game of 2020 was a place called Omori, and I said this before and I say it again, I've never heard of it. And third place is SpongeBob, showcasing a present for Black Red Ranger. There's that shark character from named Finbar from Rubbudders and Rubberdubbers. Yeah, a bit of a tongue twister there. And this over here is I think it's a cowboy character from One Piece. And I basically just chomped him a bit. I probably should have expanded a bit more, but again, I think I was on a bit of a time crunch. And that's all I can really do, actually, just showcase a face-off between Finbar and the cowboy character, or outlaw or something. And again, I've forgotten his name, but I don't watch One Piece, but you can remind me what his name is in the comments. So yeah, that was about it. Well, yes, of course, 2020 may have been a rocky start, but especially with the virus out and at least these things did help me bring a smile to my face, at least for a bit. So that's my commentary. I'll see you in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this video.